Hi, I'm about 2 minutes early, but I hope you guys don't mind. Today we have Night Train in the house, and we are going to be interviewing him. And I know you guys are going to have a lot of questions because I sure do. And Canadian Drone Hub is going to be there. Hey, James Ward. Canadian Drone Hub is going to be there to help moderate the house. So, we ready?
Sure. Let's do this.
So, a couple things I'm going to kind of take out of order, but talk to me about your tutu challenge. You had a lot of people following that, and I thought that was great. Hey, Gerald.
Well, when I first got into the drone network group or whatever and started hanging out, that was the big challenge that everybody was doing. So I joined in the fun. I was having fun doing challenges at that time anyway. I was doing like that pack a day challenge, and so I was like, all right, that's a new challenge. So I went with it and played around and had some fun just to try to get the word out there. I mean, it's for a cause. So I mean, it wasn't just to dress up or anything. It was more to get the word out and whatnot. So I had fun playing with the videos.
Yeah, because didn't you went down to Texas, didn't you, with the whole group?
Yeah, with the Noobapalooza crew. The whole noob crew. We went down there and spent 4 days down there and flew around, and we had that was part of the thing with the tutus. We got into the group just before the Noobapalooza, so we all ended up we went in, and Josh Withrow actually bought, I think it was a dozen tutus and had them sent down to Texas so that when we got down there, everybody had tutus down there so we could do tutu challenge down there.
It was really nice that everybody was on board with that.
Oh, we had a blast.
Did you have to talk anyone into it?
Plummett's probably the only one that we really had to work to get into it. He was kind of with it at first, and then he's like, nah, the heck with that. And then Bob Biker got on chat and was talking a bunch of smack about it and this and that. And Plummet was having a couple beers on a Friday night, and he got a little courage, and next thing you know, here comes the video. So we had fun. We actually Herschel Richardson, we actually he come out flying with us, and me and Plummet were out doing tutu video or whatever, and he come out there to fly with us or whatever when we had him on. So we ended up getting him to do a flight and put up a video for him to participate in the whole thing too. So it worked out well.
Yeah, that's how I first met Chuckett, because I didn't know who he was, but I put in the challenge and his video came up. I was like, who is
Fat
this
Man's
guy?
Perspective.
Oh, fun. So you have you lived all your life, Night Train, in Michigan?
I was born in Southern California, San Bernardino area, and lived there till I was about 7. And then we moved up to Michigan, and I've pretty much been here since. I did 3 years in the Army over in Alaska, so I got out of the state that way, but I don't know if that was any better being the cold, but it was a good time up there. Lots of scenery, beautiful stuff up there.
So what did you do up there? Can I ask, or is that secret?
I was a ground surveillance radar operator officially. We had some ground censoring equipment and a radar, and the radar was like in a backpack, and you would go out and set up a spot and monitor fields or this or that. And our ground censoring stuff was stuff that we plant into the ground, kind of bury it into the ground, and it has 3 different types of reading. You have magnetic, infrared, and then seismic acoustic. And it goes off of the vibrations, and you can detect troop movement or vehicle movement or things like that through those type of sensors. And then you can relay it right there at the main basic headquarters where all the command unit is at, and relay it to them as the troop movement and whatnot, so you can be first and ready to call. So it was a good time. lot of hard work and whatnot. We got to do. I did go 30 days in Japan while I was in, so
Oh,
we
wow.
got to go over there and experience like a field exercise and work with their mechanized military over there. We were in a mech unit, so we didn't have all the extra machinery and the tanks and everything else. We had pickup trucks basically, is what we had at our biggest point. So it was nice to go over there and see the mechanized unit and work with tanks and everything else, and did some other field training exercises. Fort Chaffee, Arkansas, did Joint Readiness Training Center twice. That's where you go for 30 days and you kind of plan like a mini 3-week excursion basically, where one side attacks and then you flip the script and the other side attacks back, and like an area basically. So it's kind of a mini war, all simulated and whatnot. So you can kind of judge how your performance is and what your job's doing and if you're doing it properly and things like that. So
Oh, wow. Oh, I think I'd want you to put something in the chat so people can get you. Right? Is that right, Ed? There you go, Ed.
it's all those late bloomers coming in. They didn't see the text earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were raised in Michigan and you then went to school to Michigan all the way through. Hey, Momo.
Yep.
Right?
Pretty much from all that I remember. I did like kindergarten, preschool area down in California, and then from there we got up here in like second grade, first grade, somewhere around in there. We moved up here and been raised and taught up here, graduated here, did everything up in here. I'm pretty much the same town I'm in right now for the most of my life, all
Well,
except for the time in Alaska and before we moved here. Pretty much, we did do like 1 year we lived in Flint, Michigan for a year, and then we ended up moving out of there. So
which with all the water troubles, it's good that you're out of there.
yeah, I don't
Sorry.
know if that had much effect on me then, but I can imagine that we were in the neighborhood we were in is an older part of Flint, so I'm sure it's probably some of that crisis with the water pipes and everything else. So
That's been horrendous. Hey, Carpath, Mo, Ed, Family Fun Blockers. Welcome. Russ Ward, I'm a lurker that most of you know. Okay, Russ. And then Ian. Okay. So what was it? What was your what were your hobbies when you were younger?
when I was younger, skateboarding a little bit. Bicycling was really, my dad liked to ride bikes a lot, so we did a lot of bike riding as kids and camping. To this day, we do camping and whatnot. I don't, I don't do the RV thing or anything like that. Me, it's rustic. I like to go out, sleep on the tent floor, and maybe an air mattress. You know, now that my body's getting a little rougher, it doesn't handle the floor on the ground as much.
Oh, right.
We work it a little bit and do the rustic camping, and we try to do that once or twice a summer and whatnot. Did a lot of like music events where we do volunteer work so that we can go to the festivals, and they're like 3 and 4 days, so we'll camp at those and whatnot.
Wow. So I was watching your videos and I went through quite a few of them, and something really struck me. Some of your videos, like I think your first one, didn't it have like 400 and some odd views?
That's probably like the review videos for the Holly Stone or something.
Yeah, for the Holy Stone.
Yep, yep.
And you had,
That's what pretty much got me doing a channel for YouTube and whatnot, is getting into the drones. Holly Stone reached out and wanted some reviews and whatnot, so I got some drones from them to do some reviews on there. Should be like 4 of them on there from Holly Stone all total.
Right.
You
Hey,
know,
Miss Crowley.
I know
Hey,
I'm doing some other reviews nowadays, like the battery reviews, some charger reviews, some simple little reviews here and there, free
yeah.
products from Amazon or this or that.
So I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Jacqueline, hi. Okay, hold on. Let me go back, all the way back to the beginning because I found it very surprising. So how did you get into yeah, it was 434, right? In four likes. But that video was a great review. You did a great job.
Thank you. That
So
was the very first one was I hadn't even got into editing or anything, and I had a friend that was in some chat program that I was hanging out on, and I put all the video, conglomerated all the video for all the edit and whatnot, and then she pieced it together for me or whatever. That was the first one, and then the rest of the ones I think I did all the reviews all pieced together and everything else. So it was kind of an inspiration when she did that one. But I pieced all the video, took all the video, and then sent it to her, and then she edited the video for me.
oh wow.
That's the one where at the end, the indigo blue, I believe, is what she put on there. Is the one that did the editing on that video.
Let's see. I think it was passing time is life's burden. You know, I gotta say, in the music you're picking out for your videos is really nice. I didn't realize all the different music that was out there.
Oh, there's
And
so much out there. The music festivals that I mentioned that we try to hit during the summer. This summer we didn't actually hit but one, and that was Rock the Island. It was a 1 day festival, but it was 8 different bands in the 1 day. So we do volunteer work. We go and we help set up. The wife actually was working a prayer tent for it. It's Christian concerts and whatnot. We hit 3 of them throughout the summer if we can hit them. One's Unity Festival. It's like a 5 day. One is the Big Ticket Festival, which is like 3 days, 4 days this year. They added an extra day because they sold out the first day. So we volunteer for those. And I've been fortunate enough that at Rock the Island and Big Ticket, I've been fortunate enough to actually be on stage crew and help set all the stage, all the band equipment and everything else. As the artists come in, their trailer backs in, we pull all that gear off the truck and set it all on stage and set it all up for their lighting systems and everything else and get it all ready for the performance. And then work all day until about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then from that time on, you get the rest of the night to sit back and enjoy the show. So it's been kind of nice. And then Rock the Island's a little bit smaller. It's a 1 day, so they're in and out quick. You don't leave the stage when it's done. So you go in on a Friday, you set the stage up and everything, the platforms and everything else. And then Saturday, you go in at like 7 o'clock in the morning and the bands start rolling in and you do all your sound checks and everything else by noon, all your stage set up, everything. And then at noon, the concert goes on. And then about 9:30, 10 o'clock, somewhere around there it ends. And then you tear down the whole thing and pack it all back up.
wow.
So it's been fun though, learning a little bit of stagehand. As you see the guitars in the background and whatnot, I got into those a little bit, so that inspired me to go to those shows and whatnot. Volunteer work's a good way to go. We don't get the free camp and whatnot, but we get the free shows, so we
Nice.
nice way to get a vacation out of it a couple times during the summer.
And you get all the music.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's part.
in 3 years that I've been doing it, 4 years and all going on, I think it is something like that. But anyway, I've met probably close to, I'd say about 150 of the top Christian artists from Toby Mac, just Jeremy Camp, Casting Crown, counting just endless people. Francesca Benestelli, Danny Goki, just David Crowder band, and not just meet them and sit there and say, hey, I'm, shake hands and that's it. But you're having conversations like the one year my son helped, we were sitting on the side stage watching David Crowder perform, hanging out with Danny Goki and his 4-year-old kid, having a conversation and watching the show from the side stage. So I mean, yeah, it's just phenomenal what it's been provided that way.
Wow, that is cool job. Except for the taking all the equipment off, having to put all the
You work your butt off.
everything else sounded great.
The first time I did big ticket, it was Jeremy Camp, I think, was one of the top artists up there. And when he showed up, they wanted all their lighting and everything else for their show. And they pulled up, and it was 2 semi-trailers full of gear to unload and have set up and then tear down at the end of the night. So, yeah, it gets crazy, that part. But it's fun to see the production come together from a blank, empty stage to all the equipment set up and the speakers and amplifiers and all the cables run so that they're out of the way. And then the sound system and the quality come together and, make it sound. It's so much different when you hear them without live and then you go live, and it's just crazy how much different it is. Plus you get all the sound checks.
So Ed would like to know why the name Night Train FVP. Is it because of a song?
No, actually, when I was in the military, my last name is Lane, and there used to be a football player, a defensive football player, one of the top 3 in football, period, and his handle was Night Train Lane. And so in the military, they gave me that Night Train Lane thing. So it kind of stuck with me there for that. And then I figured it fit because most of my flying, because I work during the day, is done like right at that after hours evening type thing or the weekend. So it's always doing that after hours hobby type thing. So I see him fit.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that answered that question. Good, because I was wondering about that too. So thank you, Ed, for asking that. Casper, whoa, Big Tiny, how you doing, my darling? Jagger Scott, oh, Miss Ride or Die, how you doing? Merch, hey. So don't let Merch see your beard. Hide it. Unless you want his hands running through it. So when I first started watching your videos, you started your YouTube about the same time I did.
Yeah, probably about a year and a half ago almost now.
Yeah, that's about, I started a little before that, but it's around that same bracket. I think a lot of us started about the same time, but you were not fuzzy then.
No. One of the things, I do a lot of work with our church and whatnot, and I had gone through the phase where they had me playing Jesus on their float for one of the parades or whatever. And so shortly, as soon as like that was over, because I was all full beard and everything else, and it was spring, so I was like, oh, that's got to come off. So I trimmed it all off and kept it clean for a little while and whatnot, and then the goatee, this is probably the second longest one I've grown so far, but the other one was a little bit longer than this, so we're going to see how it goes. But I got a friend down in Australia that does surfing, and he's got this full goatee that comes, it's like 1.5 feet long and whatnot. So, and it's all gray, but mine comes in and it's got like this little stripe right through the middle, and it's all natural where it stays dark. So it's kind of stylish that way. So I leave it.
Because I know that I was used to seeing you like this. And then I went today and watched your very first couple of videos, and I was like, who's this guy? And then I went to another one, and I was like, this isn't Night Train. who's this guy he has in here? So I'm glad to see you're the same guy. It's like, who took over? Oh my gosh. Um, so part of your channel that you put in is some of the flights you do with other people. And so you have
Mhm.
like a gang of
We're
FVP flyers.
trying to. We've got a few of us around. Most of it is me, and then there's the plummet, and then I got a friend down the street here that me and him pretty much got into it before I even met plummet. We got in together and whatnot, and right now it, he sold all his stuff recently, and he's dying to get some more gear going again. I keep telling him to get into these feeds and whatnot, and he can get some help. But anyway, he he's another one that I fly with frequently. And then I met Plummet through Chuck. I was watching the noob tube and saw the video where Chuck and Adam were flying in Saginaw. And I was like, oh man, I'm not far from Saginaw. Where do you guys fly? You know? And Chuck's like, oh, actually, I'm a trucker and I was just passing through, but let me hook you up with Adam. I said, he flies there, you know? So he hooked us up together, and me and Adam have been flying ever since. And then we found a couple other people along the way. He's got Todd Elgin, who is a little bit further south of Adam, which is close for Adam, but it's a little further for me. But they were flying together quite a bit. And he does wings and planes and quads and all kinds of stuff. And then we've got Herschel Richardson that is local here that we fly with fairly regularly. So we're looking to expand. We've been talking about trying to get like a multi-GP chapter started so we could try to build off it. There's other pilots in the area, and if we advertised at the local hobby stores and this and that and the other thing the right way, it shouldn't be anything to get a multi-GP chapter started up. So we've been talking about it, but haven't quite got there yet.
So Russ Ward, which is droning about Northwest. Yeah, I knew who you were, Russ. He's a night train. Do you ever roll through Seattle or Spokane?
No, I haven't been over there. Last time I was in Seattle was when I was going from AIT to a permanent party station. That's the only time I've been through Seattle or any over that way. In California, I haven't even been down there since, I think the last time I was in Cali was 90. It would have been 90. That would have been my trip after AIT. I went over and visited some family, and that's the last time I've been down to California yet. Stuck here in the north. Oh, take off, eh? The Great White North.
So, hey Willie. Hey Willie Bird, how you doing? Merge. There's a lot of people in there now. Drone pulls in. Wolf came in. And let's see. Oh yeah, Russ joining about Northwest said he couldn't miss your interview. He had to be here. So you are a sight for sore eyes, brother Ed. I don't know that. Love my drones. He's always a sight for sore eyes. Oh my gosh. So I mean, when I saw, I think the first impression I had Night Train, when I saw you with all the guys and all the tutu stuff and all that, I thought how much fun that looks like for you to have all those friends out there flying with you. I mean, I couldn't even imagine
Flying
how.
alone is probably the worst part of FPV is flying alone now. It's just there's no fun in it. You go out, you rip a couple packs. It's like, okay, that was cool. And you start getting the groups together, like me and Adam. Saturday afternoons during the summertime, we were hitting it up. As soon as he's out of work, we're meeting at a park close to where he's working so that we can fly. And we'll spend 3 hours out there and rip the same amount of packs I would have ripped in an hour and 20 minutes by myself. And it's just more time and a lot better time.
Wow. Yeah, I gotta tell you, I just thought, oh, Really, but I'm good. The doctors gave me tramadol and diazepam. Wow. Yeah. So you think you're on a great
Somebody's feeling
Whaley bird?
her. The
Whaley bird.
Whaley bird's a whirly bird.
He's sitting on his bed right now going, "This is a fun cruise." You are great. Thank you, Casper. Um, yeah, that is so fun. Casper, the reason why we don't do raids on Sunday, usually always Sunday or Tuesday, is because we do interviews, and that's the only reason. But thank you, Daisy Dark, for coming in and having a raid. Anybody who would like to pick anybody up, please feel free to do it. And hello, Penguin. So, when did you first start building? Because, right, I'm always saying that Drone Pool and I were watching when you were at Jim's, and it was fascinating.
Trying to go through that thing. But the crazy part with the one at Jim's is Jim worked on that before I did. So it was trying to figure out where he was with it, fix what he had done on it. Like some of the wires he had heated too long and they were like melted way back on the plastic and whatnot. So he had to change some wires or this. But I started building because I bought my first actual racer drone, FPV, was an E-Sheen kit. It was the Racer 250 for like $400. Come with goggles, come with the Fly Sky radio, and it came with the drone and a battery. So basically, I was set to go to fly. Well, unfortunately, these are the arms that come on the E-Sheen Racer 250, and they're plastic. They're not carbon fiber. And this is what happens when you hit things with them.
Oh,
And as a new pilot, you're gonna hit things. So, needless to say, this is not a good beginner drone, people. Do not get the E-Sheen Racer 250 as your first beginner drone. It will not last you. But anyway, it got real frustrating. I broke ESC, I fried stuff. I never did get it back up and running again after a couple crashes, this and that. And anyway, I said, all right, fine. So I went ahead and I bought, well, hold on a second. Let me go grab it.
okay.
I'll show you exactly what I bought.
Hey, Lewis LP, Richard Goggins, thanks for coming back. Hadley's Big Tiny, Casper the Friendly Ghost. Drone Pool Jacket Scott, woof, woof, I did get your email, and it sounds good to me. Let's set up a date.
Oh, so I went out and I bought a Martian 220 frame, and I built it up and built it over and over and over and beat it up and crashed many a top plate and many a bottom plate, broke several arms, and it works. It was a fly color tower, just a little tower on it, and it's basically a all-in-one ESC and a flight controller, and most of it's all just plugs so that you don't have to solder a whole lot except for like your wire to wire to make your plugs so that they match from one device to the next. And so it was really easy to do, and I built 2 or 3. I got a 6-inch up there with the same tower on it, Martian 2 with the 6-inch on it. That's up here, just a little bit bigger. That's more of a 250 size versus the 220.
Oh,
A
nice.
little bit bigger stance.
Uh-huh.
So this one's more about set up for getting ready for long range. Now that I got some nice equipment to work with for long range, I think that's going to go either that or the Alien. I'm not sure, but
Okay, those are beautiful drones.
they've been fun. But I started building those because the other one broke, so I said, all right, and I'm going to have to build, and started with those and just advanced and advanced and advanced from the 4-in-1 ESCs that all just plug together, and now I'm buy an ESC and buy a flight controller and throw them on and do whatever needs to be pretty much now. But it was all through. I got stacks and stacks of stuff I fried and
Right.
everything else too, though.
So I want to get back to Jim's story. really quick because after I started talking to all of you guys about soldering, I hadn't realized that you could over solder.
Oh yeah.
And
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that Jim and I got the building bug at about the same time. I forget what we were doing, but we were on a live stream. And it may have been when I was interviewing him. And someone brought up building, and we got really excited. Next thing I know, he had everything ready to build. And he just put everything into it and just started right away.
He got crazy. Jim,
Hey,
he
Jim.
started building, and well, I'm not even sure where he got the wizard from. Where'd you get the wizard from, Jim? Anyway, the wizard was pre-built. It was the standard wizard, so I don't know if he got that used or what, but it wasn't working all the way. It wasn't bound up to the radio. It wasn't programmed all the way, so that needed to be done. So he sent me that and wanted me to work on that. I said okay, and by then he had already had the Martian 2 built, pretty much 3/4 of the way, I think, but he didn't have a good setup for it, so he ended up. See, I fry lots of stuff. These are all
Oh, wow.
components. There's more in the box here too. There's broken motors where the motors break right off. The little pin come snapped
Ooh.
off them. I busted all kinds of those. Tattoo motors where
Hi, Grant.
I bent them and ended up screwing up the wires inside where they scrape or whatever, and screw
Yeah.
up the stators, and yeah, it's a lot of process. Learning curve is big, but it's worth it in the end. I mean, to be able to put something together from your hands, do all the soldering, all the pony picking out and everything else, and to put it together and then watch it fly is just so gratifying.
I see 616. I don't have any of those yet. Hey, Plummet. Yeah, I just saw all of those drones he was building, and I thought this guy's going to be a master at this because he just cannot. 616 Jim cannot be stopped.
Well, by the time that he sent those the two up, I think he had 3 more or something like that he was in the process of building down there. He didn't even send up. He's like, get these 2 running or whatever, and sent the radio. He had another radio down there, 2 more radios down there, I think. He went crazy when he got the bug. He got hit hard. He started buying up. We went down there, and by the time I took the 2 drones down there, there was 2 tiny whoops, another drone that was built that needed to be worked on, another one that was halfway built, and like 3 more frames sitting up on the wall. And he was like, yeah.
I just remember him keep coming on, and then it'd go out, and then it'd be back on. You building it go out, and I gotta say that was, to me, that was a really exciting live streams all that day because it just showed the true joy that Jim had and you guys had of just making it work, making it come together. But then, if I recall, finally you said, okay, we just got to go fly.
Yeah, we went all the way down. It was like a 2-hour drive down there and whatnot. We're going to work on drones for a little bit, and then we're going to go out and fly and get them up in the air. And that was the main thing, is I wanted him to be able to have that experience while I was there, so I could answer any questions, make sure he knew what the switches were and everything else and how they worked. So it was a little different with Richard, because Richard knows how to do all that. I mean, he can program his radios and everything else. So I just had to set it up, basically, make sure it was running and send it up, and then he's got the final just program his radio down there, and we're good. The little bind button, and it's over.
Here's Jim. 5 hours later.
Yes,
Down.
yes. 5 hours later.
I mean, that was so much fun. I like watching it because it just showed the camaraderie and the fun of that's not it's just not flying, right?
Right.
Like it encompasses a lot of different things. But I know that I'm just now getting a soldering kit so I can start to build. And
I
Jim's
need a good
already
one.
like he's like crazy with it.
This is my soldering kit right here, guys.
Is
It
that
is
it?
it's a Weller soldering iron that you pick up
Nice.
for like 20 bucks at your local Lowe's, whatever. That's my soldering kit. And I got a little tin with some Boy in it for cleaning
Yep.
off the tip. And I've got some flux over there if I need it for cleaning. And that's my soldering station. I don't have a big soldering station yet.
I
I
don't
need
have
to
an
invest in
actual
one.
soldering station, but I bought the soldering thing with a lot of things that went with it. Then I bought solder. So I think I'm gonna have everything, all my ducks in a row. But I don't I bet you Jim had a pretty fancy soldering station. Did you, Jim? Or is that just
No, he
guessing?
doesn't. He doesn't.
Oh,
He's got like a $7 soldering iron or something like that.
so why are
And
people
not a
buying
big station.
dollar solder?
Because they're, well, the one that I want is actually like 60 bucks, 70 bucks or something.
Uh-huh.
And it comes with your heat torch. It comes with your soldering iron, and you can adjust the temperature of your soldering iron. Electronics and other soldering is not necessarily the same, with your brazing two pieces of metal together versus soldering two wires together. You want different temperatures and whatnot. You start
Ah,
getting into like your tiny whoops. You don't want to run such high temperatures on the tiny whoops because the boards that you're soldering to are so tiny that
right.
you'll take those boards and those boards will come off the board. The actual solder pad will come
Oh.
off that board by overheating it too much.
Jim said his was 6.99, so I think he has me beat. I think for all the
Wow.
little pieces that came with it, I spent 18.
Yeah.
And then I bought a
Uh,
bunch of other stuff, so it ended up being high. I
yeah,
have a
you can
soldering
get
kit
some cheaper
coming
ones to get you
tomorrow.
started and whatnot. They're not going to last as long. Like Jim's, he had two of them down there actually. They're the same soldering gun, soldering iron, and one of them was actually to the point where he used it so much and it heated up so much because it doesn't have a temperature adjustment or it wasn't uh, turned down enough or you always had it all the way up or anyway, it was on too long and it started actually coming apart. So we ended up switching it over to the other soldering gun because it just that bad of a shape. But they don't
So
last as long. This one I've been using for a year already. So you buy some tips for, I think it's like $3 or something like that at the
yeah.
hardware store for the replacement tip, and good to go. Everything, the gun itself is actually in great shape. So
The plumber said he spent 140.
140 for a full station. Depends on the station. It really does. You can get them up to, they got soldering stations that are 7, 8, 900 bucks, but it depends on what you want. There's some nice ones out there for 60 bucks, 70 bucks, 150 bucks. Depends on how much you want to spend, really.
Right, Hadley. Yeah,
But
mine was like
to get
18.
in it, 20 bucks. That's all you really need. It'll get you going.
I decided to do that because I just thought, what if I do it and I'm thinking to myself, and I just want to stick with tiny whoops.
Uh,
Why
what
do
if
I
you
need a
what
ton
if
of
you get into thinking, okay, I want to build these, and you start trying to solder and decide, oh, I can't get this or anything else, and now you got a $150 soldering iron, you're gonna have somebody else build your stuff for you. You know what I
right
mean?
me? That wouldn't I'd be upset with myself if I
It'd be better to make sure you know what you're getting into. If there's a cheap way to test it and it's still good. I mean, like Jim said, he's working on an $8 soldering iron that he's building quads with. So I mean, it works. Just got to be more careful. And like I said, they don't last as long when you pay the cheaper price.
yeah. Yeah, I figured it's at 18 bucks for what came with it and putting it in something to carry and
Yeah,
all the tips. Ah, that's
I've
okay.
actually got one down here that this one right here is one that I bought for travel. It's butane operated. It- It's got your soldering tip and whatnot, and just turn it on and flip the switch, and it's butane operated and goes to town on it. So works.
Wow.
Somehow it works.
Yeah, but
There we go.
hi, but how you doing? So,
But yeah, that's for the bag.
so what got you just so much into building?
To building, just that I wanted more. It was cheaper to build, knowing that I could build. It was cheaper to buy components and build them, even buying clone parts or this or that or the other thing, than to buy one that's already built. I mean, I can build one for a couple $100 really, with cheaper parts but decent quality. I build it for a couple $100. Whereas if I were to go buy one that's already built, that's decent quality, you're going to spend 300-400 bucks. You're going to spend that extra 100, 150 bucks, $200.
I remember
Same.
you saying that to Richard when we
Mm-hmm.
were all talking that one day. You're
Before I
saying
built his. Yep.
before you got his, when we were all talking, I remember you saying, well, I can get you something decent with decent quality.
Right. Or
Right.
you can do like Richard did. We went through it and we talked, and he's like, well, I want one that's going to last and good quality, and I want decent parts. So we gave him some options to pick from or whatever that I felt were good quality with good reputable parts. And he went and picked and chose from there, ordered the parts, and then sent me all the parts. So it cut the cost that he wanted or whatever, wherever he wanted to. If he wanted to send me $10 sumac motors and put those on there, that's fine too. That, like you were asking, I think in the morning show, either this morning or yesterday, or one of the feeds there recently, you were talking about some of the different builds and whatnot and the costs and
Yeah.
whatnot is to be able to do it. And there are $100 builds out there, like the new E-Sheen one or whatever, that's a $100 kit. It's not going to be your top of the line, but it's $100 and it'll get you off the ground. You know, you're going to have to do possibly some upgrades for better quality, you know, but you get what you pay for too. So in Richard's case, he's got all pretty much top line stuff. With the drones that 616 sent up, they're a little bit cheaper parts on some of those. So, it's all in the difference of cost and how much you want to spend.
See, I thought if I had the like built the Whoop night train, it's
Mm-hmm.
like I think it cost $99, the one that Louis P. Floyd did.
Yep.
Thought, well, that would give me an idea. Um, oh, it came out great. I went kind of high end on this one. Parts and shipping came to a bit over
Yeah.
700.
See,
Ooh,
with parts and shipping, that's not bad. But
no,
he's throwing me in some stuff, everything else. So $700 bill. I mean, he's talking an Armaton Chameleon TI frame, which is what, about 100, 120 bucks. That's a
wow.
lifetime warranty on the frame. He's got bot grinder motors on there. Those are 22 bucks a piece or something like that. They're hype trains, so they're up there with the top of the line motor companies. They're actually the ones that he's got, I think, are different than the ones that I've got on mine. I've got the original ones, which were made by LD Motors, and now they're made by T Motor. So you've got the better grinders on yours, actually, Richard. He's got the Brain FPV flight controller on there. That's like a $70 flight controller. So I mean, you can get a flight controller for 30 bucks. He spent 70 because of the flight controller and quality that he wanted, or this or that too. So I mean, yeah, he's got that's pretty much top of the line. That's like my Alien. It's a kissed out V2 Alien, but I went $45 camera on it, $50 VTX, $20 antenna. ESCs are 30 bucks a piece. It's got $22, $23 a piece motors on it. So, you know, you spend a little bit more. The frame's another $100, $80, something like that. Mr. Steel PDB instead of a regular PDB. So I've got all the extra goodies on there, OSD. So yeah, it's get what you pay for. But I've got cheap builds too. So I mean, my ghosts are cheaper. I've got some that are free motors and whatnot. My race ghost was free motors that I got that were, if you look them up online, they're like $5 a piece. But stack out of a B Fight 210. I took the ESCs out of that because the ESCs were good. The flight controller was junk, and put a Betaflight F3 or F4 on it for $30. So there's most of your quad right there. $50 frame. It'll get you under $300 for a nice drone. A nice one.
I was I went on the channel that Wolf told me to go on because he built a $100 quad. Oh, that is cute.
That's my Tiny Whoop Racer. It's got a
Did you build
beta. It's got the beta FPV board into it because the Tiny Whoop, actually, the official Tiny Whoop comes with a Spectrum, and I don't fly Spectrum. So I had to change the board out, but everything else is Tiny Whoop Racer. But yeah, that's the $100 Tiny Whoop kit, basically.
Oh, that is cute. That is really cute. I like that one.
Yeah, she's fun. She'll do about 35 in the house with tri-blades on it.
Oh my gosh. I'm thinking I want to build the Tiny Whip because everyone told me not to start with the racer, and I thought that's probably right. And then I want to go into buying something that's inexpensive just so I can build it. So if it doesn't show up, it doesn't turn out, I'm not going to be crying. I'll still be crying because $100
I don't think you'll have a bad time. Tiny Whoops, the nice thing about Tiny Whoops, there isn't a whole lot of soldering that you do with these. Most of the time when you buy a board, the board already has the power lead connected. So the only thing you have to solder on usually is your VTX and camera, which is 2 wires on a Tiny Whoop generally. And then your motors are actually plugs. So you don't even have to solder your motor wires to anything.
Wow.
You just plug them in. On the bottom you can see they're just little plugs there.
Oh yeah.
And those are the 4 motor wire plugs. And then there's your battery lead. And this one right here is actually, like I said, it's a Tiny Whoop, so it's an all-in-one camera. And the VTX kind of lays down into a cradle type deal. But it comes with a 3D print and everything for it. But there's your top side of it.
Oh, nice.
It's all laid down nice and flat. The camera goes out the front, and then the VTX lays flat this way so that it comes the antenna out the back.
Nice.
And there's a 3D print that mounts on there, and then they just slip onto the 3D print. And then the little canopy. Just little hooks on the side to go over it.
Hey, Furball, how you doing? Hey, Kim5, how you doing? Let me go quick. Flyer FPV's in the house.
What's up, Furball?
Miss Ryder Dies in the house. Mo, thank you, and thank you for all the announcements you're doing. We are interviewing Night Train, and we have some of his posse, as I'm going to say, in the house.
I see a bunch of you guys subbing to me, so I'll definitely be hitting those back for you guys and checking your channels out when I get off of here.
Val, I just want to tell everybody that tomorrow morning you're on live in my place tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
Yes,
because Roger tomorrow. Will be gone.
I will not be here.
But he will be back.
Yes, yes.
So Thursday you will be back with Roger.
Hoping, yes.
A third build today. You did, Drone Pool? Okay, so I was watching Drone Pool when he started pulling out all his stuff, Night Train, saying, oh, I have a problem. And then all of a sudden he's pulling out all this stuff for another build. I was like, "Man, you
Yeah,
have
he
a
has a
problem."
problem, all right. He's got parts and nothing to do with it. I got that's like this one. I got the new Diablo frame, so this one is the Ghost Racer that I've stripped apart, and I'm playing around with the ESC. It's actually got a KISS flight controller onto it right now, but I don't know that the flight controller is any good. I can't seem to get the receiver to connect up with it for some reason,
Oh, well.
and I can't seem to get the flight controller to flash. So
So Night Train, people are asking if you could put a comment in the chat so they can grab you. I'm a KISS pilot, Night Train. That's a Flyer FP.
well, you'll appreciate this one, man. That's an alien kissed out V2.
Oh, that's pretty.
That's probably my most expensive build so far. I was inspired from going down to Texas and meeting Aaron Icky and the new crew and whatnot. There's a bunch of them flying KISS, and Adam Plummet had won the Flylow FPV KISS when just before or for New Year's and was flying that. So I've been wanting one, and we went down there and I got a good deal on the frame and started building it. So I went ahead and V2'd it. So talking like $60 PD or $40 PDB, $60 flight controller, $70 flight controller. Like I said, $30 ESCs or V2 32-bit. Run D-Shot 2400. All that. My motors actually talk on that one. Let's see if I can find a battery real quick. Fire it up. Oh. With the newer technology and 32-bit and whatnot, all this cool stuff. We've got new technology, so.
Oh.
Sorry again. That's the actual motors talking.
Oh, wow. So, Miss Ride or Die, Night Train just put his in. His name is Night Train. You might need to put something else in, Night Train. His name's also Michael. Send me your address on Facebook so I can send you 2 things to Bugs 3 in the real. Oh, Drone Pool, I will. I mean, Drone Worship. I'm sorry. I absolutely will. Thank you for coming in. I always like seeing you. We went to Palooza in Fort Worth in May. Yes, you did, because I saw that. That was great. So you're going again, right? You're going this summer.
I don't know that we're going down to Texas this summer, though. I think this year Nubapalooza will be Delaware. I believe we're going to have it over by Chris and Josh Withrow is who's actually going to be hosting is Josh Withrow, I believe.
Wow.
Is what it looks like. So it's a toss up between there and going down to Fort Worth again, I believe.
So Carpenter Rick, welcome, welcome, welcome. Paul Murray, happy to see you. Yes, because I think, and Drone Worship's in the house, of course, and I think you should go to Delaware.
I'd like to go to Delaware, and the wife would probably want to go along then too, because she hasn't been over the Cape and whatnot in quite some time. She had time spent over there and with her father and whatnot before I was around, so
yeah,
she's got fond memories of the Cape.
Yeah, and I gotta say that I think you'll have a good time on the East Coast. I always do when I go there.
It's one of the states I haven't been to in all my travels. As a kid, we traveled across the country, drove from Michigan to California. So we've taken the upper route and we've taken the lower route, and then a lot of traveling Greyhound and this and that and the other thing from here to South Carolina and whatnot, and down to Georgia. I've pretty much hit all but like Florida, and then from like say Virginia, West Virginia, and like that up towards into the New England type states. Everything else I've pretty much been to in the United States.
Oh wow. Well,
To
you don't
include
Midwest.
Hawaii is another one I gotta hit yet.
Hey, Tech Core and Chaos FPV. Welcome, welcome. We are interviewing tonight the one and only Night Train. So
Chaos is another one of those local flyers, but we haven't met up and actually gotten a chance to fly because he's a workaholic.
Chaos, you got to fly with these guys. I mean, you would have so much fun. I think you would. Hold on. Let me see. Ingrid, I see you a lot in here. I know you don't have content, but I'm going to go ahead and mod you for now. Okay? For now. And we'll see how it goes. Zero have never been to the East Coast. Oh, you've never been to the East Coast? The East Coast is fun. You have a lot of different flyers out there. So I think it's going to be fun. And so when you go out to something like that, do you stay in a hotel or do you guys do like, how do you set that up?
Well, last year was the actually official second one, and so it was kind of a group thing. Everybody were in a chat group together. It's the core group of the noob crew that does it, and we get together and chat and whatnot and figure out when we want to do it, and then everybody tries to make arrangements to be there and either hotel it or like me and Adam went down. We were gonna do the camping thing, just hit tents, and we got down there. And the first night we stayed in Ben Leprechaun's shed that night. We slept on the floor in there, and it was all right and everything. But the next morning or whatever, we got up and we were making arrangements for the day and this and that and the other thing. And by the end of the day, Josh is like, "Man, I got you. Don't worry about it." He's got, from all his traveling that he does, he threw us a room basically for me and Plummet for that couple nights and whatnot. So just basically taking care of the family, and we'll go down and have a good time. We was ready for tents, man. They said, "Oh yeah, we got some tents and sleeping bags and stuff." We were like, "All right, that's enough for us, man. We just want to come down and fly. We don't care." So
you ended up in a shed.
Yeah, we ended up sleeping first night in the shed.
Trailer Park Boys.
Yes. Yes.
Bubbles.
Bubbles lives in the tin shed with his cats. Yes. Trailer Park Boys is funny.
With you and Plummet in there. Oh my gosh, how funny is that?
It was a good time. We were playing around, and we went that night. We got there and we didn't do a whole lot of flying that day. We got there, we flew around a little bit, burned a pack or so in the backyard and around the house, and then we all wanted to kind of go eat and whatnot. So we ended up going out to eat and hanging out for a while, and then came back, and some of us had some stuff that we had to work on in order to get it flyable for the next day so that we could go hit some parks and whatnot. So we ended up, I don't know, it was like 4 in the morning, I think, that me and Plum finally laid down. And then we were back up at like 8, 9 in the morning because everybody's back, showing back up and this and that and the other thing, ready to go. So yeah, it was a good time though.
So yeah, so I think you need to go out. You have to get out to the to the East Coast. You have to.
Definitely.
You're gonna have even more fun. I know it. Oh, that's a lot. Too old to be sleeping on a piece of plywood.
What's the matter? Jake kept us company though, Plummet. I mean, it was cool. Jake is Aaron Ickey's dog, and Ickey and them had a hotel room, so they a hotel room or something. I think, yeah, they had a hotel room, I think. Anyway, he left his dog with us, and we had the kennel and whatnot. The dog was having separation disorder from mom and dad, so he was kind of whimpering and whining for a little while here and there, but we got him to go to bed finally. It was cool.
Well, so I would think, would you rather have the 20 cats that Bubbles had or the dog?
The one dog. The dog, I don't care. The dog. I hate cats. I'm not a cat person. Not at all. And I live in a trailer park, so I see the cats all the time. It's like, oh, get them out of here.
I know. I mean, yes. I went to I was working on one trailer, doing some work in it, and all of a sudden I saw this whole band of cats come out from underneath. So there are a lot of feral cats around who would love to live in a shed. That'd be upscale from living underneath. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Night Train. So,
See, other
so
parts you got to replace when you do FPV. This is a foam pad from the goggles. This is what
yeah.
happens when you sweat and fly a lot of FPV in the summertime. You'll end up having to replace the pad all the time. They separate. Joke.
So, hi, Kelly. So, when you first started flying, you started building. Then you had to go to beta flight. Beta flight is like such a mystery to me. How long did it take you to feel like you kind of had it together?
To be able to grab beta flight, plug a quad in, and know that I could program it, the basics at least,
Uh-huh.
probably took a few builds actually, because it was all set up, but I was using the same boards and the same equipment each time so that it was, not changing. Now I change around and I look at the diagrams and it doesn't matter what it is and I'm throwing it together. But at the beginning it was, okay, I got to really study and figure out this and that and figure out what ports are what. Didn't understand the difference between a TX port and RX port, being a receiving or a transmitting, and its function and how it relates and everything else. I didn't know any of that. I started off and it's like, oh, I got a UART. That's all I knew. A UART's got 4 pins. One's a negative, one's a positive, and there's 2 other areas there for signals or whatever to do whatever. But I don't know what those 2 things are. One's an RX and one's a TX. I know that now. So, but yeah, and then knowing, you can't have 2 of the same, like a TX and an RX on UART1 can't run at the same time. Unless you mix them through other protocols through Betaflight. I don't even get into that. So there's a lot still that I don't know. But I can resource motors now. So if I throw an ESC on and I had to spin it sideways so that I could get the power cables out the right way so that it fit onto the frame right, I can go in and I can change what motors signals go to what or whatever by the Betaflight now and everything. And that's that I did okay at Richard's quad, and I got 4 or 5 myself going. And
So I think that's the one thing that scares me. That I'll get the whoop done, then I'll go to do beta flight, and it's going to be over my head. I don't want it to be over my head.
there's a lot of channels out there like Blue Falcon. Blue Falcon's probably the easiest one for understanding if you don't like the technical thing. Bardwell would be the technical side. He's the one, if you go ask a doctor what the diagnosis is, that's Bardwell's type of answer. If you go ask the guy that brought you in the ER truck, he's going to give you more of the layman terms. You know what I mean? That's going to be the Blue Falcon translation.
Okay.
He just down to earth, real easy to understand type of thing, and he walks you through the basics of beta flight. Unfortunately, Blue Falcon isn't into the new beta flight and everything else because he's passed away. So rest is so, but he does have some good basic videos of getting into beta flight. But there's lots of videos out there by other people that, as far as getting into learning the basics of beta flight.
What I've noticed on some of them, that's why I'm bringing it up for the guys who understand it, is that when I go on, I usually find things where people start in the middle with their explanation. Because they figure that people already know a lot of the other stuff, so they start in the middle, which they probably have to do, because there are people who know it But for me, yeah, no, I have to
And,
have
and
clear.
that's with finding a channel where there's a lot of people where, like Painless 360 or Bardwell, where they've got their channel set up where they've got the playlist so that you can get in and hit
Right.
the basics and say, okay, I want just Beta Flight. Whereas Blue Falcon, you can go in. He's got one for just the QX7 radio. He's got one for just the Fly Sky radio, or he's got just the Beta Flight, or he's got certain boards where they're broke down into playlists so that it's easier to find and filter through the stuff to be able to learn it.
Well, and I've
So,
heard Blue Falcon's name a lot. Um,
JC was awesome. He dove in and he tried to give you every information in the simplest terms that he could put it so that you could understand it, because it's just so complex. We're learning all the stuff that we have to learn is basically from a programmer's perspective as far as writing script code and whatnot. So we're having to learn it a different way. So JC was good at being able to explain it that way.
so I saw, so you've been building for how long now then?
Pretty much about a year and a half. Pretty
Wow.
much the first drone that I actually got to fly and start ripping around and last any is this one rebuilt over and over. It was the first one that I didn't, there's only been one other one or two other ones actually that I bought that were a plug and play or bind and fly, as you say, where you just kind of bind it up and it's ready to go, or you put a receiver on and it's ready to go. That was the B Fight 210, which I just sent the frame down to Jerry down in Texas, or they're using it for his science program down there. They're going to let him use it for the program down there and hopefully be able to build some frames up and whatnot. And then for their STEM program. And then I bought a QX70, I think it is, QX70. It's like an E-Sheen. It's a yellow Whoop style, a little bit bigger than the tiny Whoop, but it's a cheaper build and whatnot. And I beat that up in the house quite a bit because it was winter time. But then I started building right away, and all my drones have been built.
So Chaos would like to know what plug and play drones are worth looking into.
Plug and play drones. Right now, there's quite a few, but they're more expensive, like the diatones. Those are nice drones as far as the FPV, but you're talking 230 somewhere around in there for them. They're good quality though. Diatone takes a lot of time and energy into their stuff. And then there's a lot of companies that are doing it, like Flylow FPV or Cyclone FPV or Rotor Riot. They're doing all theirs and whatnot as far as, but you're going to spend a little bit more money, you know. Yes, that's a Wizard 220 right there. Wizard 220 frame. It's the actually upgraded arms. They're 4mm instead of the 3mm, and
So pretty.
it's the thicker top plates and whatnot. I rebuilt it. It's done in red now instead of all green. I rebuilt it for the boy, but I accented it with the green with parts that I had because I like all my stuff green, but all the edges are done in red for them and whatnot.
Nice.
I just use some paint pens and whatnot. You get at Walmart, $1 a piece or so, little painter pens, and then you can
nice.
paint the edges and stuff.
So let's see. Hold on. Oh, so from Ed. So did you ever fly a toy grade, or did you just jump into racers?
I've got some toy grades. Hold on, I'll dig down the first one. The first one I actually bought because I was waiting on parts and I broke the E-Sheen racer. I was going racer straight up all the way because of DRL. But I got some toy grade. This is the DX4.
Oh wow. Yeah.
It's beat up. One of the spindles that the mounts onto is actually broken, so I haven't gotten a part for it. Otherwise, it still flies. And then I've got the Holy Stones that I've got. I got this one, Holy Stone there. That's
Oh,
toy grade. That's Wi-Fi, so that you can get the video, as well as this one here. That's Wi-Fi. It's got a swivel on the thing, so you can swivel the camera
oh.
a little bit different. And then we've got a toy grade. This one here by Holly Stone. This is toy grade, but it's actually FPV. It's not Wi-Fi. It's actually 5.8 video transmission through the camera. There's no angle for the camera or whatever, but it does do actual 5.8 off it, so that you can put it on your regular FPV goggles and fly it. And then my other big one is my camera drone. This is the Holly Stone HS100.
Ooh.
That's basically it's their DJI or Sima type drone or whatever you want to call. It does do GPS, and it does have the rotary camera. It doesn't zoom or anything like that. It does have proprietary battery for it, so it's kind of nice that way. But
So
that's
Roger,
all.
can you do me a favor? I'll be right back. Can you take over for me? I promise I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, the Sima 5 clone. Yeah, it's a Holly Stone HS100, which is, yeah, Sima had the same thing pretty much. You can actually get the Sima props and put them on there and everything. It's almost exactly the same as the Sima 5 Pro that they put out. But yeah, it does GPS. It does pretty good. It'll do 500 meters and whatnot. Takes pretty good camera video. Not as stable as I like. It's a brushed motor, not a brushless. That's the one thing I don't like about it.
Yeah.
Probably the HS100 gets flown the most out of all the toy ones, because it's the GPS. So I use it kind of like B footage type stuff. So it's been flown. The other two, the green and the orange one, I haven't flown probably all summer since last winter, playing around in the house with them here or there. And then the FPV Holly Stone one I play around with here and there. That's been probably a month or two. I'm so into the FPV ones, and I don't fly much of the toys much now.
Have you been flying lately, like today or yesterday? Or?
Yesterday I got a pack in. I just rebuilt. I took my racer apart, and I got this frame in. This is the Diablo by Cyclone FPV. He's a guy out of the Texas area that's doing his own frame cutting and whatnot. Got his own type of frame designs and builds. But it's a squash top
Okay.
and top mount battery. But I flew this one yesterday and maidened it for the first time. I got some camera work. The camera's a little loose and whatnot, but a couple things to do onto it. Otherwise, she flew pretty good. The other ones I flew the day before. I think I flew, or was it the day? 2 days ago. I flew the rest of them. 3 days ago, I flew the other ones around. I went up to the park and burned a few batteries just to get out and fly.
So Ed, I don't know if you already asked this, Roger, but Ed wanted to know when was the last time you flew any of those?
Yeah, we was talking about it. That's what we was talking
Okay.
about, getting the different ones out. All the toy grades. This one right here, if it wasn't for that one spindle, probably would be the one that I fly the toy grade the most, just because it's fun to beat up on. The DX4 is just a quick little toy. I think it's like $40 or something like that. Maybe.
Mhm.
No, this one's like 80, I think. I think it's 80 at like Walmart or something like that. It's the Sharper Image DX4. But
So Night Train, do you have children?
too many. You want one? I'll sell you some.
I would love. My three are all out of the house. I would love another
I've
child.
got one left at home. I've got one left at home. He's 17. He's a senior this year.
Wow.
Mama just picked him up from basketball tryouts this week. So he's been working his butt off. But she's bringing me some food here in a minute. But yeah, I got one left at home, but I've got 5 children all total. I started young. When I got out of high school, I went to the military and was gung ho, I will say.
Yeah.
And my gun worked. So
Evidently.
by the time I got out of the military, I had one. I spent 3 years in the Army. I got out, and then when I came home, I had another one shortly after. And then now I've got 5 total. So I got 2 girls. They're here in town, somewhat local. And then I've got 3 boys. So this is the last one that's here. So
So the
dinner
one with
is
the
served.
red on the edges, is that his drone that you're doing for him? The boy.
That's actually his. I rebuilt it and gave it to him so that he could get into FPV, but he doesn't have goggles yet, and he doesn't have like batteries and charger and this and that, and it's cheaper parts and it's not really good. And anyway, he got other interests that he's playing around with. Really, he's 17.
Oh yeah.
He
Yeah.
needs to get into the drones and not some of the other interests a little bit more, but you know,
But
it'll
that's
come.
17.
Yeah, right. So
So do any of your other children comment on you having a YouTube channel?
I don't think really any of them comment, to tell you the truth. They know that I've got a YouTube channel, and supposedly I've got like I know the one daughter does subscribe. The other one, I don't know if she's subscribed or not, but when I post on Facebook or whatever, they usually take a gander or whatever. So hopefully there's some of the views that I get on my videos. But the 17-year-old that's here, he usually is pretty decent about watching some of the videos just because of the music that I put with a lot of the videos.
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of it's Christian based. Not so much lately, just because I'm having more trouble finding up to date songs and stuff that I can get away with artists
Right.
without being blocked or whatever. So, oh wow,
So
Sorry, I missed something on your plate.
dinner's being served.
what did we get for dinner?
We've got some salad noodle. Here we go. Let's turn that here. Oh, we got steak and some sauteed mushroom and onion and some noodles with peas and all that good stuff.
You have a nice wife.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's awesome. We've been married for 21 years.
Wow.
I'm supposed to say. I got it right. But
So
anyway,
wanted to know a question because Night Train, isn't that a Martian 2-frame, not a wizard?
it's yes, this is a Martian 2-frame here. Yep. That I've got here. Yeah, this is a Martian 2. It's the wizard is a little bit different. It's usually the body's not quite as long on a wizard as far as the center body. It's a little bit shorter. This one is the official alien clone.
So Richard said, Night Train FPV. His other interests are probably chasing girls like his daddy did at that age.
It is too, and it's getting him into trouble. That's the problem.
Oh,
So
he gets them all into trouble.
yeah, well, the
had-
laws are a lot different now than when I was in school. So I got away with a lot, I think.
Right, and you don't now. You don't.
Right, you can't. That's the whole thing. Everybody's got to be involved into it now, and you can't just deal with the situations on your own and everything else. So
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy that way.
I have 2 boys and 1 girl. My youngest is 25. And I got to tell you, it was scary then when they were coming 15 years. It was very scary.
Yeah, I got 7 grandchildren now. 46 years old and 7 grandchildren already. I love life.
See, that's only someone like
I'll be able to enjoy my grandchildren while I'm still young enough to enjoy them.
Right? Right? I'm telling my kids, hurry. I'm getting old. Okay, let's see. I want to see if there are any other questions in here. Okay, I see about had a bunch of toys from Toys R Us. Keep an eye. Oh, also, guys, in case you didn't know, the Mavic Air is at Costco. They're calling it a bundle. I didn't see what's so bundly about it, but it was like $7.99. Is that
Yes,
a
Toys
surprise?
R Us is coming back to Kroger. Kroger has a bunch of the Kroger stores and whatnot have a bunch of the Toys R Us stuff.
Are you
They're
serious?
like Jeffrey stuff or something like that they're bringing back just to keep the logo stuff going. It's probably old stock they're trying to get rid of.
Right?
Warehouse special.
Oh my gosh. So do any of your kids just get really into drones?
No. My daughter's begging me and begging me. She's like, I need one, I need one, I need one. But she's got kids and this and that and the other thing. I don't think she'd really play with it much, but she hasn't made it over to actually fly mine either. So
Us.
that tells me a little bit.
Journey about Northwest keeps telling me just to replace my daughter's whatever with Skittles. Yeah. I don't want to die that early. She would so kill me. Oh my
Great
God.
grandkids aren't that far off, actually, because my second daughter didn't have kids yet herself, but she has 3 kids because the guy she's getting married to, her fiance, they've been together for 5 years, 6 years, something. Anyway, they've been together quite a while. They're finally going to get married, but he has 3 kids, and one of them is actually like a teenager, like, so it's not so far off.
Oh wow. Okay, so I'm gonna just say hi to a few people in here. Hey Scott, how you doing? Ed, of course, Russ Ward, Beyond Trees. He says, can we get you to crank out a tune on the guitar? That's what Beyond Trees is saying. Then we have Star Cop, of course, Star Cop and Henry, I'm sure. Furball, FPV's in here. Let's see, and then Billy Craft, Backwoods Billy Craft Beer Reviews. Is that right? Bill's in the house. Ms. Ride or Die, Ed's in the house. We have Mo, Wolf, FPV, Flyer FPV, Richard Goggins. We have a lot of people in the house. Russ Ward in the house. Of course, the Canadian Drone Network. He's in the house. Yep.
They must be here for you, Val. All these people.
No, believe me. No.
Hey, Merch even made it.
And Merch is in the house. Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, I just, if I put FPV and I put one of y'all, especially from your crew, I mean, that is really 31 watching now. Thank you, Ed. Oh, Baduga's in the house. I think that people just really are getting more and more and more into FPV because when I started out, I thought I just really watched aerials. I didn't really understand FPV. And now it seems that it is growing by leaps and bounds now. So, hey, Penguin's in the house. So, do you find that the new laws in any way are going to curtail what you're doing?
They probably will to some extent. They haven't really had much of a problem up here. Like I said, we don't have a huge group up here. Whereas like Texas, I mean, there's so many pilots in Texas, it's hard to find a place. Or
Really?
even as far as going down to Grand Rapids with Jim. We went down there. He's like, okay, we'll go ahead and go fly. So we went to the local park. We go fly at this open field area. He goes to put his drone up. There's some pilots off at the other end of the fields over there with the little track set up flying or whatever. So he was getting interference with his goggles and everything. So when you start getting into the areas that are more populated, it's probably going to be more issues and whatnot. But the cops around here They usually pull up if I'm flying and they see us or whatever. They pull up, they check it out real quick. Have a good day, and off they go. So
Oh, nice.
I haven't had any issues. The one issue I've come close to is one of the neighbors around here that he didn't actually live here, but his daughter does, and he was dropping his daughter off. And I was flying up and down the road, and it was like 7:30 at night. It gets dark at like 9:30, 10 o'clock during the summer or whatever. And he had a big complaint about it, and he's like, "Oh, you can't be doing that." I'm like, "What? I'm flying up and down the road. I've got permission from the park and everything. I can do this." "Oh, no, you can't." So he gets in a huffy or whatever, and next thing you know, I go back down and fly it again, and he comes back down here again and notices a camera on there, so he calls the cops on me. Like I'm doing something wrong.
Oh,
I didn't even have goggles on or anything. I was flying line of sight, just up and down the road. I didn't have no VTX hooked up, no anything. And so the cop comes and he checks it all out and everything else. And it was raining out at the time, and I took it outside and I put it up in the air for a couple seconds and blah blah blah. Cop says, "Okay, have a good day." And never heard
oh,
another
wow.
thing from him.
Hi, AS123. How you doing? Oh my goodness. So is that the only time you've had the police called on you, Night Train?
For drones, yes.
I think that's the best answer I've had. And
I'm an old guy. I'm an old guy, and I live in a trailer park. And these millennials drive me crazy.
do they?
So sometimes I might speak out of turn. I might say something that speak my mind. Somebody doesn't like it. I called one lady around here a prostitute, basically, and she called the cops on me. Said I was slandering her. But
Oh my
sleeping
God.
around on your husband.
Oh my gosh. I like
Yeah.
the crossword go, LOL, stories need to follow that remark at night in Quebec. Yeah. So Furball said you need to go up there to Canada because you can play on his property everywhere. I
There
think
you
that's
go.
what he was meaning.
Right.
I think
Yeah,
we're
the
having
night flight. They'd probably be mad at me for flying my drones up there, though. They're over the 250 grams and all that stuff up there.
right.
They
Oh my
get mad at me. They think I was rotor riot getting ready to dive their darn bridge again.
So what is the most exciting thing about FPV for you?
Meeting all the people. I got into it and it was cool to fly and everything, but just the community that's around, and I mean, it's so common interest and everything else. It seems most of the time, I won't say all the time, the community is always trying to pull together and help the next guy get going and whatnot. Whether it be sending them some parts or helping build a drone or just helping them get through beta flight, even walking through. I don't know how many times me and Jim have sat on the phone and either team view or a video chat on Facebook trying to figure out what's going on with this stuff just to get them up and running, or team view to hurry up. Here, let me do a quick program for you, or something like that. But that's been the best part. It's just the group of people. Every time you meet somebody that they see a drone and they're like, wow, the fascination of it itself. And the flying part, the FPV it got me into it. I mean, anybody that has ever wanted to fly, flying FPV is as close as you're going to get without getting wings,
Right. Yeah, because I noticed how when Jim had a problem, you guys just saddled up and you got down there in a relatively short amount of time. And I think that I don't think you find other people involved in hobbies where it's like that. Maybe you do, and I'm just not in tune enough with it. But I didn't know.
I did radio controlled cars back when I was in the Army or whatever, I got into radio controlled cars. Growing up, I had a neighbor that lived next door to us that had all kinds of big 1/8 scales and this and that, bruisers and all kinds of stuff. And I always thought those were cool to play around with, you know. And so I got into it a little bit, but you don't find, I don't find that the groups are that open like FPV is. FPV, like Rampage, for instance, there were 130 plus pilots that were signed up to go fly at Rampage, but there were over 1,000 people at Rampage because you could pay $10 and have a ticket and just hang out all day. You know what I
Right?
mean? You didn't even have to fly a drone just to be around that group of people. Not any other hobby does that really. I mean, yeah, Flight Fest, something like that, but they're advertising for months and months in advance. People are coming from all over and whatnot, and they've actually built off of theirs because of the drone flyers as well, because of the FPV and whatnot. But you don't see, I don't see the hobby shops doing as much that way as they are now with the drones and whatnot.
Right, right. I haven't seen our hobby shops really doing anything, but every time I'm out, I'm always looking up in the sky because I want to see is anyone else
Mhm.
around me flying, and there must be flyers around me. But darned if I have even seen one. The only drone I've ever seen in the air is my own.
Yeah. I was out actually flying at a park over the weekend, a couple weekends ago. My kids were out running around town or whatever, playing Pokemon Go. And 22 and 17, and they're out playing Pokemon Go. Anyway,
Right?
so they're out, and they're like, I hear a drone. Oh, what, Jared? What's Dad doing? Next thing you know, my kids are coming over because there was somebody out flying a drone. They knew it had to be Dad or something, so they come and checked it out. But I've only found one other time that I've gone to any of the local parks really around here and actually run into anybody flying anything, and that was some guy that was from out of town at our local Tridge area. Um, the one where I was out in the cold did that commemorative for video or whatever with the song that you commented on earlier. I know you've seen it, but it's got the bridge that has the 3 different arches that come together.
Yeah.
And that park there, he was out there flying. He's from out of town or whatever, and he had a regular plane, and he was just flying line of sight out there. Other than that, I've never run into anybody even flying planes out. No wings, no planes. We've got Midland flying fields here from the local area, which is our hobby group. But they want AMA certification. You got to be a member of the hobby club and this and that. Yeah. So I mean, you're talking like $50 just to join the club or something. Monthly dues and this and that. I don't have to do all that. I can grab my drone and go hit any park and fly wherever I want. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, there's
So,
something I think I like the meeting friends and flying or something over becoming a member, paying dues. And yeah, because I'm always going to do something wrong. They'll probably kick me out. Because I
eventually I
sometimes
probably will get into some of these groups. There's one in Saginaw and there's one in Midland here.
yeah,
And they're decent groups from what I heard. One isn't so big. The local one here isn't so big, but the other one, I went to one of their like fun flies basically. During the wintertime, they do some like once a month. They'll rent one of the like big old pavilion igloo type deals or whatever
yeah.
for like soccer fields inside and whatnot.
Oh, nice.
Sporting dome. Anyway, they'll rent one of those and they'll fly inside or whatever. And I went to one of those, and they're probably about 40, 50 people that were
Wow.
there at the last night they're flying and whatnot. There's drones and planes and all kinds of stuff. So I'll probably end up getting with that group as well. But I don't know. All that extra AMA and everything else, I don't have to have it to just fly. But if I get into like the multi-GP and this and that and the other thing, I won't have to anyway. So then I'll have all that stuff. So it's just a membership.
I can actually see you doing that. I want to get my 107 because I want to learn it all. And
That's a
know,
big one for me too. 107. I need to like buckle down on that so that I can get out of residential painting.
right?
Getting old, it's tearing me up as a residential painter. I need something that's going to be able to have income and chill for a while.
Well, and Russ just got his 107 and ended up with 3 jobs almost immediately. So
Yeah,
I think that would be a good thing for you to get into.
there's a guy here local that does some work. He's got a Phantom, and he said if I get my 107 and whatnot, he can help me get some leads and whatnot as far as doing stuff. But he does like cell tower inspections and stuff like that.
Oh,
So there's some good work around. We've got just south of me, about 15, 20 minutes, starts the windmill section where there's
mhm.
giant windmills for miles and miles and miles. I haven't flown any yet, but they're going to be hit soon enough.
Yeah, I went and got on a channel that did a 45, what was it? It was an hour and 45-minute video. I think it was a Northrop's or something like that. And they went through all the different parts of it. And then I know Starting About Northwest put on something last weekend. I was with him when he did that on starting to read the weather.
Somebody on your one of your feeds the other night was mentioning Tony and Chelsea, and Tony and Chelsea is they've got a good channel, and they have a section of their channel that's dedicated to the 107 training and whatnot as well. So
Yes, that
some
was
good info.
So I've been watching them, and that's the one that I'm taking a lot of notes from because it seems to me that he really can explain it and break it down where I understand it. And then Russ Ward comes from a family of teachers, I find out, and he explained that whole how to read the meters and
The charts.
yeah, I gotta tell you, I'm sorry, Russ, but I forgot the name of it.
Navigational chart.
Yeah, and it was amazing that I could kind of read it after. I was really surprised. So I think there's a lot of free places we can go Night Train to do it because I can't spend 150 on a class and then 150 on a license. I don't think I can do that right now. That
Yeah, that's the whole thing for me is I'm gonna have to learn it on my own because I ain't got the extra to put into taking a class and this and that. There are some good ones out there if anybody's interested, but a lot of people recommend a lot of different classes where you can pay that money and then you've got that class backing you so that each year when you have to go renew or 2 years or whatever, they'll help you get through that without having that extra fee or whatever. So
right, that's what I think that's great, but I'll probably have to do it all on my own. And then just try to make sure I pass it so I don't have to spend another $150 next time. So what do you see happening with your channel, Night Train?
the channel as it sits,
Mhm.
not really a whole lot, just building into the community basically. Just a kind of a hub that people can see flying and learn stuff or connect. If I do get a 107, I'll probably end up changing the channel around as far as starting like one that's more designated professional because most of my videos, as you know, are regular music. So there's so much copyright. My channel is just loaded with copyright tags everywhere. But I'm not trying to monetize. So, there's not enough to be made out of YouTube. To me, it's more of a hub to be able to get the info out and, either a Patreon somewhere or something like that to make money off of if that's what the route I end up going, but not off of the page itself. So just basically enjoy the videos and have fun.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see. Does anyone have any more questions for Night Train? We got 20 more minutes. If you have a question, you can ask. But if not, I'm going to continue with what I want to know. So what do you see happening this spring after winter goes with your flying? Because you still fly in the winter, right?
Me and Plummet flew all winter last year. I find myself now that I've flown as much and as many packs and this and that, that I don't get quite as eager to go out and fly like I did last winter. So I probably won't fly as much this winter, but I will be flying during the winter. But that's where we've got a lot of time this winter to try to figure out where some people are in the local area, maybe even possibly do, like I was saying, get a multi-GP chapter, try to start up that. And that would be based towards the spring to try to get things going.
So
But
Richard says, where's my 2 missing screws, Night Train FPV?
which screws, buddy? I sent you a whole bunch. I probably ended up keeping a few. I kept all the stickers, though. I kept all the stickers. I hope you didn't want the stickers, because I kept all of those. I mean, there's some good stickers, though. I mean, let's see. Let's see what stickers I kept of Richards. Let's see, we kept I probably should have at least sent him one of these. We got 4 of those.
Oh, those are cute.
They're butt grinders. See, I did keep some stickers from it. The tiny LEDs. We kept that one. Armaton Productions. Custom built hobby parts. Another Armaton. And then the Brain FPV. There's all
Oh,
kinds of cool little ones on that one.
those are really great.
I like the little dog on there. He's cool.
Oh,
Got his goggles on. But yeah, there wasn't a whole bunch of stickers, but I did keep the stickers. The wife said I should send some. And I was like, but I'm sure he's got tons of them around anyway.
let's see. Richard said, okay, I didn't see any screws in the box, but I'll look again.
I probably got them then. I probably got shuffled into my stuff. If you need a bunch, I can send you anything you need.
You can keep the stickers, Mike, except the dog. I need that one. LOL.
He is cool.
Oh my God, Richard, that's so funny.
I
Yeah.
was gonna send the packages back and everything, but I was like, nah, I'll even throw his garbage away too.
He said he'll email you tomorrow. Probably with the little package.
Probably camera screws or something that he's looking for or something.
Yeah.
That was the last thing I was working around with.
So what do you think your next build will be, Night Train?
I need to get this little thing going. This little 3-incher.
Oh.
So Mach 1 Mini is the frame name. But yeah, it's a little 3-incher. But I got to get the stuff for it yet. I need a tower and everything. And it'll be my smallest stack that I have. It's supposed to be a 20 by 20 instead of a 30 by 30, which is your standard.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a micro camera for it so far. And then that's about it. I got a lot of stuff to get for it. But I've been working on keeping the other ones going.
So you just go ahead and you buy the frame, Mike, and then you just slowly gather your pieces?
Yep, gather up parts depending on what you want. Or like Richard, he ordered up a few parts here and a few parts here and a few parts here, and then threw it all together and snapped together.
Because I like that 3-inch frame a lot.
Yeah, that's cute. I like it.
That is nice. That's going to be very nice. So most of yours have been the 5-inch, though, yeah?
Pretty much all of mine. I got one 6-inch up there, and then the tiny whoop. Otherwise, I did have a 4-inch going for a little while, which is a Martian 3. It's a little bit different.
Oh,
and that's got 4-inch arms on it, which is really no different than a 5-inch. It flies a little bit different as far as turning and whatnot, The smaller you go, the quicker the responsing is, because it doesn't have as much arch to throw. If you go for your center, and for it to do this on a 4-inch, it takes less than on a 5-inch to spin that whole arm. So
No. Richard said, yes, it's 2 camera mount screws. It's all right, though. I already ordered a full replacement set of screws from Armiton, just in case I
Okay.
lose any more.
If it was the camera mount screws, why? I think, I don't know.
Myself, I have.
I have to look. Send me a picture in the email. I'll see if I got some. I'll send them down. I'm sure they're here.
So, Love My Drone says, I've been thinking about a 3-inch bird myself, Night Train. I have a 5-inch and a 2-inch. I guess is what I guess you'd call an 85 and then a 65 millimeter.
Yeah, 65 is going to be your 2-inch, and then 85 is going to be your 3-inch, that type of thing. 5-inch is usually up above. With 3 inches, anything under usually about 100. Well, 3-inch. 2-inch would be 85 even, wouldn't it? I don't know. You could do 2-inch on 150 millimeter. But yeah, this is, I think, 135 millimeter here
Oh,
is what this one is.
huge. So the 2-inch, what is the big difference between the sizes? You said the 3-inch can
The
kind of
motors,
turn.
the motors and the prop size, how much prop you're pushing. Usually the smaller you go, the higher the revolution, or kV, which is kilovolts per revolution, is what that stands for, kV. So it tells how many revolutions basically it's doing in a minute, RPM. So the smaller you go, the more RPMs. Like on a tiny whoop, you're talking 20,000 RPM or kV, and then you're talking on a 5-inch, you're talking more like 2450, somewhere around there in the kV range. So you get into 6-inch, 7-inch, you're starting to get down smaller size, like 2150 kV for a 6-inch they're using now, and then 7-inch you're going down towards like 900 k, you know, smaller kV but bigger motor. Doesn't
So
spin
why
as
would
fast.
somebody want a 7-inch quad?
It flies smoother and longer. Just
Oh,
like a 6-inch, you've got more prop pushing, so you can even it out so that bigger prop will carry you a lot further faster without using as much power.
Night Merch. Thank you for coming in. It was so nice seeing you.
And if you get into like the huge X class now that they're calling it, which are 1,000 millimeter drone, those
Whoa.
spin like 12-inch props and whatnot, something like that, or bigger. Those are crazy. That's just because you can. That's why you do that. That's because you can. Ask Zoe FPV.
Had to tell my roommate to go with his phone away. Hey, Kim.
Yeah, go away, man. We're working over here.
So did you want to say anything?
I'll be quiet.
Do you have any questions? No questions?
No.
I use 4S batteries, Chaos. That's pretty much everything I got is 4S. I use 1S on my Whoop, and most of my toy grades are 1S. But yeah, I run a 1300 mAh and generally around a 75 to 100 C 4S.
I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss any questions. Nice whoop vid, Kim. Oh, he liked your whoop vid. Stone Cold did. Let's see. Night Train FVP. Okay, you already answered that. Hey, guys. I'm sorry. My son called me. Roger, can you take over for a minute? Roger?
Roger?
Okay, we're here.
Roger, Roger?
Oh. Yeah, I was just typing out something here for Chaos.
Yeah.
Oh, say hi, Chaos.
We have clearance. Roger, Roger.
Hi, Night Train. How you doing?
How's it going, Kim?
Oh, pretty good. How you doing?
How's your FPV going, man? You get that thing up and running?
The racer's still with Stone Wolf. He's doing a tune-up on it.
Uh-oh.
And
Oh,
right
geez.
now, I'm just messing around with a cheap little whoop in the house.
Oh, those are fun. Those are fun.
I just put my first DVR video out on it just a few minutes ago. It's not the greatest, but I mean, it's my first one.
It's probably one of these posts over here on my thing that I've been ignoring, We've been doing all this, so I've just been letting these posts pop up and I haven't even been clearing them.
Oh, I mean, there's a lot. You got to deal with a lot, right?
Yeah, that's the disadvantage of growing a channel is you get more and more people subscribed and all of a sudden the alerts come through. I come home from work and I pull up YouTube and whatnot and it's like 10 minutes of click from the notifications.
You could do 3-4 hours.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, real easy. I usually do a lot of clicking while I'm at work and whatnot too, so that helps.
You kind of have to pick and choose a little bit, you know?
Yep.
I'm getting up to 150 a day now,
Oh, geez.
and I cannot get through all of them. Which is, I can't.
I'd give it a good try, man.
Oh my gosh.
Because we got a life too, you know what I mean? I take a shower once in a while.
That's not allowed once you start a YouTube channel.
No,
Night Train, if you want to laugh, just check out that DVR footage I did of my first FPV.
Oh, I definitely will, man.
Yeah, you'll get a laugh out of it.
Yeah, I try to catch up in the morning time on videos a lot of times because I'm on the feeds at nighttime all the time anymore.
Oh, I know what you mean. You're trying to lend support to as many people as you can, but it's not that easy keeping up.
Right.
so Russ would like to know if there's a large difference in price between a 3 and a 5-inch build.
And the price wise,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say there's a big difference. Componentry wise, it all depends. They're starting to get a little bit lower on the 20 by 20 stacks. They're down probably about 10-15 bucks cheaper, I think, for a flight controller. So it's a little bit cheaper, but it's not a great big saving. It's not like half the price because it's half the quad. It's not that kind of savings. Motors generally aren't that much less expensive. You're still paying 15 versus 17 to 22, something like that, you know. So
wow.
yeah, it's still fairly pricey for a 3-inch, just the same. But you'll save a little bit. The advantage of a 3-inch is you can go in more places and you don't break as much. It's lighter, so you don't have as much impact breaking things. So generally you don't break as much, they say.
Richard Coggins. That's why I only post bad flights, so he doesn't get that many answers.
That's why I don't edit.
Heck, I do bad flights all the time, and I still don't get any answers.
Well, I think that there's I think the one thing I'm learning anymore when I do interviews is there is no way to encapsulate all this knowledge in my one brain. I mean, without you know the community, it's really hard because I don't know if you could fit all that information in one brain.
There's no one source out there to find it. That's the hard part is you got to go hunting it down. And unless somebody has that knowledge already conglomerated in their own head, there's no way to get it with one spot. So yeah,
Right.
You definitely have to hunt.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. It's but I've been lucky because I'm within this community that we all have, and certainly I'm not just talking about Valve Life community. I'm at all the community, and that makes it easier for me because there's so many knowledgeable people people. So Russ Ward said, so I need a 3-inch.
Because he
I
plans
plan-
on breaking things. Well, that's one way to look at it. Yeah. Your biggest investment in FPV is going to be your radio and your goggles. After that, it's parts. You know what I mean? And you can find $10 motors out there. You know, you can find $5 motors out there. You search hard enough or find a good deal. Buy in bulk. You can get better deals. Lots of different ways you can do some things. But yeah, it is a little bit cheaper on a 3-inch. Your frames are generally a little bit cheaper on a 3-inch frame. You know, $25 versus $50, something like that. That's where you're saving the big money. Carbon fiber costs money. So but you know, I'm sure with me flying, this ain't gonna last all that long. It's one piece bottom plate. So there's no replacing arm on it or anything, you know. That's the other thing when you're looking at them is you find ones that, if you're new, find one with replaceable arms. You're gonna break an arm. You know, find one with parts available. Don't go necessarily get a B Fight 210. Jerry found out the hard way. He's got a B Fight 210. Now he's searching around to find arms for it to fix the one that he's broke or this or that. So, you know, try to find something that's out there that's got replaceable parts. You know, a motor. Always when you order them up, buy 5, not 4. You could have one that's bad, or you could kill one quick. Always nice to have that spare motor. So I mean, those are things to look for. But yeah, 3-inch is definitely a little bit cheaper on overall, and as far as parts. Cameras, a micro camera is going to cost you, and that's what they're pretty much anymore. All these 5-inches, they're not even using the full size cameras anymore so much. They're starting to go to the micros that have the same capabilities, that less nose sticking out or less lens to break or things like that, you know.
So Richard Goggins says, that's why I choose a brain flight controller for the new quad. Now I can just ask my quad what I need to do.
Right. Yeah. I wish it was that easy. We'd know what the problem is with your telemetry already, right?
I can see looking at my flight controller, what do I need to do? And it just tell me, leave me alone. Send me to a better home.
I was really hoping the telemetry issue was something that was my error, Richard. But watching that video, I noticed that it's doing the same thing with you that it did with me. And I checked that antenna, made sure it was secure, so it should be, you know, I don't know. It's got to be a crossfire thing.
Kim, did you have a question? I heard you starting to talk, and I think I cut you off again.
At my age, I've already forgotten.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty soon you'll be like Roger, where you've reached the age where curiosity is greater than vanity, and you'll be wearing glasses.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's like, I got to figure out what's going on with the X-Fire. Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, guys, it is almost 8 o'clock Eastern, and it's probably almost 7 o'clock for you, Mike. Is that the time zone you're in?
No, it's 8 o'clock going on.
Where you are?
Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, same thing here.
So, guys, was there anything before I let y'all go, and any last questions you have?
Yeah. That's a dang nice beard you got there, Night Train. Yeah, man.
Oh, Chaos would like to know if you have any GPS drones. Do you, Night Train, have any GPS?
Yeah, the HS100.
Oh, you already put
a
it
big,
in.
huge black one that I showed you.
Hey, you got some sweet quads though. That little tiny one you showed, what is that, a 3-inch you said?
This one?
Yeah.
135 millimeter. Yeah.
I think
This is a frame. One of the guys from Quadaholics page on Facebook was doing some stuff on a contest or this or that, posting videos or whatever, and I managed to get that frame given to me from him.
whoa.
Just gotta build it.
Bet you that thing would rip.
It's been sitting here since like May.
Oh man.
I've been building with other stuff. The one I built up the latest was this Diablo. That's the one that I just got. I won this frame. This was a Josh Ketchum Cyclone FPV, had a one to show and one to go. So it's a $100 frame the way it works out, but it was free.
Sweet.
So I put the parts into it, and that's the latest one I've been playing with.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's flying pretty nice. It's supposed to be pretty solid. Should be a tester. That's the one that hopefully, if things go well, I'll be doing some more testing on some new stuff that he's got coming out.
Cool.
So Night Train, I would like at one point to invite you back with Plummet and maybe Jim.
Yeah,
Just have
our local group.
the group of the Michigan guys. Do you think you'd be up for that? Maybe either end of November or December. I want to do it right away, but I'll give you a little bit of a break since I already took 2 hours of your life. But I think that would be extremely fun.
Yeah, because we need Jim to have more time on the sticks anyway, because he's really got to fly a 5-inch. He's just getting that. He's been flying the moops around, and spends all his time playing and building, but he's not flying much.
I
So he
think you
needs some stick time.
to fly. You need to fly, Jim. So, guys, I want to thank you, Night Train. Thank you so much, Canadian Drone Hub. Thank you, Drone Pool. Chaos, Richard, Wolf, all the other people up in the chat. Let's see, Manic Magic. I am so sorry. I may have missed you when you came in. Beyond Trees, love my drone, might add. Star Cop. Always a pleasure. Beyond Trees. I know I'm missing people. I am so sorry. I am just let's see. Oh, here we go. I'm open to any time. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. No, we just need Plummet and we got it going. This was so much fun, guys. I appreciate it. Don't forget, the Canadian Drone Hub is on every morning at 9 o'clock Eastern, and on Saturdays at 7:30 for movie night. Roger's going to be, I am sorry, I'm just so bad tonight. Roger's going to be hosting that this Saturday night. So please get your clips together you want to share with us. We'll get our popcorn and our soda and we'll be there with you. And then Sunday night, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's Merch and Stonewolf. I will look and make sure, but that's who I believe is going to be on our Sunday show, and then we'll work out what's going to be happening on our Tuesday show. Okay, guys? Okay, I love you.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you so much, guys.
Okay, everyone, take care.
So much fun. Bye, Chaos.
Very much. Night Train, cool man.
Very good.